everyone. I quickly wanted to show you guys what an interview experience with Canditest AI looks like. So let's go ahead and get started.
Hello there. I'm Jim, and I'm really excited to be your AI interviewer today. What's your name, and could you share a little bit about your background with me?
Hi Jim, my name is Prakash and I'm a software engineer. I used to work at Intuit and now I am the co-founder of the platform we are speaking on actually.
That's amazing, Prakash. It sounds like you've had quite an exciting journey so far. It's awesome to be interacting with one of the creators of this platform. Well, today we'll be focusing more on your coding skills. I'll be presenting a coding question for you to solve, and I'm here to answer any questions you have along the way. How does that sound? Are you ready to get started?
Yes Jim, let's do it.
Here's your challenge, Prakash. You have an array of photos nums. Determine if any photo appears twice. Return true if duplicates exist if false otherwise.
So these nums are, what kind of a data type are they?
Great question. The numbers in the array represent integers acting as unique identifiers for the photos. Any other questions about the problem?
No, I think I understand the problem. Can you just tell me what programming language would be preferred for this? And I would also like to know if um, if there's a desired time and space complexity for this.
Prakash, could you walk me through your approach to solving this problem before starting to code?
Absolutely. So you're saying like agnostic of the programming language?
No worries. What I mean is, how would you plan to solve the problem step by step?
Sure. So I am thinking that I will convert the numbers array into a dictionary first, and then I can iterate through the array of nums and see if at any point that my pre-processed array has multiple entries of nums, then I can just return uh, true, otherwise false. So just to clarify, when I'm doing the pre-processing of my numbers into the dictionary, I am storing the number of times I see a particular number, and then in a separate iteration, I am checking the keys of the dictionary and seeing if any particular number has been seen more than once or not.
All right, Prakash, let's get started with coding your solution. Feel free to explain your thought process while you code.
Okay, so should I just go ahead and start writing a function, or how would you like me to structure my solution?
Starting with a function sounds great, structured in a way that helps you think through the problem efficiently.
Okay, let's do that. So let's first mention that what we're going to call this function. So I think it makes sense to call it find duplicates, because that's essentially what we're doing. It's find duplicates, and we know that it takes an array called nums. uh,
Sounds like a good plan. Keep going.
yeah, so now that I have defined it, I am going to return false as a default and return true when within inside the loop if I find something like that. So now let's do the pre-processing. So let's call it pre-processing into a dictionary. So how do we do that? We go through the, so first of all we need to initialize it, right? So let's say scene nums, let's call it that, and let's initialize the dictionary. And what is the dictionary supposed to look like? It's supposed to look like num followed by a number of times scene. Okay, so now that's the structure we want to follow. So what I can do is for num in nums. Now if num is not in scene nums, then we can simply add it. We can just do scene nums num equals 1. Otherwise we can do scene nums num plus equals 1. Now that our pre-processing is done, we can iterate through the keys seen inside scene nums. So how do we do that? We can pretty much do something like we can do for num in scene nums dot keys. And yeah, so once I'm doing that, yeah, okay, so if num, no, if we want to do if scene nums num, so now we know, like, if scene nums num, if it's greater than 1, then what we can do is we can return true because duplicates exist. And I think this should be the full solution. I'm just gonna write some comments here so that it's kind of easier to understand.
Great job on implementing the solution. Prakash, could you explain the time and space complexity of your solution?
Sure. So the space complexity of this would be O of n being the number of numbers in the array, and secondly, the time complexity, right? The time complexity would also be O of n being the number of numbers in the array called nums.
Nice explanation. Could you share some best practices or techniques you use to ensure your code is maintainable and clean? Nice explanation. Could you share some best practices or techniques you use to ensure your code is maintainable and clean?
Absolutely. So what I usually like to do is I write a bunch of comments and try to make sure that the variable names make sense to another developer who comes and looks at my code. Those are the most important things I follow. Some other things are that like each logic point should be well explained and should be easier to read. So like kind of formatting your code in a manner that's easy to look at.
Great insights. Last question. How would you debug your solution to handle edge cases effectively?
So the usual way that I do my edge cases is like just write out a bunch of edge cases and then actually go through them step by step and try to understand it better. Is there any particular edge case that you would like me to do or something?
Thank you for your time, Prakash. You will receive feedback shortly. It was great getting to know your approach.
Cool, thank you. So once you're done with the interview, it takes a couple of seconds to the assessments to get ready. So let's just wait for that for a little bit. So it says 0 temporarily, but it'll give me a score soon. Okay, so there you go. The score is ready, and you can kind of go ahead and like look at the assessments and see the different categories you got scored on. So you can read through this. We give a final recommendation, and based on that, like basically try to get an assessment of how you did in the interview. Another thing that we've added is that we have a coding timeline, so you can kind of see how you went about developing the solution, and you can kind of reflect on it and see what you could have done better and all of those things. You can also kind of click on the different messages and see like where you were at that particular time. If you click on it, you can see where in that assessments you were. So yeah, this is like a platform that I feel people should use to understand and understand the problem solving approach. uh, One of the most key insights with all of this is that it's really important to kind of be able to talk through your solution, because you're going to be working with other developers, so it's a very important skill to develop. So this is why I think this is something that people should go through, rather than just going ahead with their lead coding approaches. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you guys have a good experience finding jobs and preparing yourselves for interviews. Bye bye.